Hello everyone, I'm Brendan Marcello, this is Joel A. Erickson, Sunday night, and of course, as we do every week, we're going to recap the previous game for Auburn. Auburn, a big loser, 34-7 at Georgia. Joel, this team just, they got whipped up in all three phases, special teams, offense, and defense. But the game started off promising, and then from there, it just rolled downhill.
Yeah, two things I took away. First, first one you led into it real well. The way the game started, they go down, score touchdown, defense gets a stop. They're moving the ball a little bit. And I think they were like 5 of 6 on their first bunch of third downs.
Third downs, they were great on third down. Really.
And they're moving the ball, and then they get another stop, and then Quan Bray fumbled a punt. And not to say that this is like that the game was somehow Bray's fault, but the way the team responded to that was what the big deal. It was like after that, it was just.
Yeah, because the defense had a big stop, and then all of a sudden the defense has to come back out on the 19-yard line, and they scored, not immediately, but on third down. And it just like the air went out. It's like, okay, here we go. It's going to be downhill. It's almost like, I don't want to say they gave up, but it just was deflating. They couldn't do anything right. And then I think they had one more shot to get back in that game right out of halftime. Defense makes a stop. Offense comes out. Nick Marshall delivers, I thought, 2 great passes. First one to Sammy Coates was just a blatant drop. No one within 7 yards of him in the middle of the field. Would have been easily a first down and maybe gotten 15, 20 more yards on top of that. And then another pass in the middle of the field with Ricardo Lewis coming across the middle and then trying to shield the ball and diving for it, and he drops that pass too. And then they have to end up punting, a play or two later. And, at that time you're thinking, well, if it's going to be that type of night, then Georgia's going to roll here.
I think the big thing, and reason most Auburn fans are so upset with this game, it's the first time in the Gus Malzahn era here, with 2 years now, that they've gotten beat like that. They've always found a way to kind of get back in the game. Even the LSU game, they were within 1 score late in that game, Baton Rouge last year before they went on a run. And we get it. We understand why everyone's upset. I mean, it's the first time they've really been beaten badly and beaten in all 3 phases. Putting our finger on why, it's tough.
It's difficult. I mean,
the thing is that the first 5 games, especially that game against LSU, and even now the way Arkansas has played, you look at those games, you go, those still hold up as really good wins. And something's just kind of happened here over the last month.
Yeah, Gus Malzahn harped so much last season and this year about getting better week to week, but they've gotten worse and worse every week these last 4 or 5 games. They're regressed defensively. Offensively, they started picking up steam, and then all of a sudden they lay an egg.
The Georgia games are weird. We'll have to kind of wait and see what happens.
So strange. I know we keep mentioning it, college football week to week, you never know what's going to happen, but that maybe are more or less the wins or losses. Auburn have been pretty consistent up until here of late. Both offensively and defensively. You knew what to expect defensively. You knew what to expect offensively. In this game, everything just fell apart. And as you said, I don't know what you can credit it to, really. Are they worn down from all the big games they've had to play? Have they gotten to the point now where they just feel like, oh, we're going to get back in this. Something's going to happen. It's okay. We had to punt the ball there again. And all of a sudden things get out of hand and I want to say they lay down, but it's just like, well, there we go. You do something, no, you do something, and then nothing happens.
Whatever the reason, clearly the first time they got whipped, in a kind of, I guess, cruel twist for fans after playing all these big games, when you want to see something big, you're going to get the game against Samford, who, no disrespect to Samford, but still an FCS opponent. And don't know how much you can take away from this going to the Iron Bowl, but just our big takeaways. We're just like you. It's a little bit of a shock to see an Auburn team under Malzahn beat like that.
Regress this much so quickly, and now the season all comes down to the Iron Bowl as it always does. But for fans especially, because fans are going to be upset all the way up until that game, and they're going to want to see something. And boy, is that going to be tough having to go on the road in a game where Alabama's playing for the SEC West, trip to Atlanta, spot in the playoffs, and oh, by the way, you'll be pretty angry about the way the game ended last season with the kick 6. So a lot to ask for this Auburn team, but they've got a couple of weeks to try and figure it out. We'll have much more coverage throughout the week as Samford prepares to come to Auburn for Senior Day for the Tigers at AL.com.